channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
NFL Week 14 is here, guys. Post-Thanksgiving football. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving with friends or family, or maybe both that celebrate it, of course. We will look at three big games like always, guys. Talk teasers, underdog options as well. We got some big games, some big divisional games this week to look at, starting with the Steelers versus the Ravens. Always a big game when these two play, and it's probably gets as big as it does. The winner of this could win the division. So there's a big game for both teams. Two teams struggling as well. We'll get more into that shortly. Packers versus Bears. Surprise, surprise, the Bears are first in the NFC. I don't think anyone would have predicted that. I did say, and I did expect this team to be a lot better in pushing for a playoffs. They are doing a little better than I expected. And the Monday night game, like always, we talk Eagles versus Chargers. Tough one to predict, but we will break it down. Systemsportscapping.com or link.me/systemcapping for client opportunities. Receive my personal plays in the UFC, NFL, PGA, and more. Records, resume, comments, and more all over there on the site or the link tree that's available. It was not a great Thanksgiving. If you guys listened to the podcast last week, you probably knew that. Was on the Lions. They didn't show up at home. I thought they would bounce back. It was hard to predict all three underdogs would cash. You know, I did mention in the underdog segment, Packers or Cowboys. I like Cowboys a little more in the underdog section. Hopefully at least tailed there. Teaser did not come through due to the Ravens' loss. Speaking about the Ravens' loss, let's get into a little rant here. Right? Let's get into a little Ravens rant. We haven't done one of these for a little bit. And when you turn the ball over 5 times, you deserve a rant, right? That O-line's not playing good. Lamar Jackson is not 100%, as you can clearly see. He's banged up. He actually ran a little more in this game, but overall, he just does not look himself. He has not looked great, guys, ever since he came back from injury. I think he had maybe a half that was good when he came, and it was against Miami, if I recall. But the O-line, like I said, playing really bad. I'm very surprised how the O-line has looked. They've struggled against the Bengals, guys. The Bengals defense, the worst defense in the NFL, allowing over 32 points per game, limited this Ravens offense. Frustrating to watch. Moncton, their offensive coordinator, not calling good games, in my opinion. They need to run the ball a lot more in that game, and they didn't. Tough to watch the Ravens right now as a long-term fan. I personally didn't have any bets on the spread or anything like that. I did stay away from that, but I did have them in the Thanksgiving teaser, which ruined the day. We'll talk about the Ravens a little more shortly. Black Friday was good for myself. Bounced back after losing Thanksgiving, a rare losing Thanksgiving. We've done well in Thanksgiving cards. We bounced back with a 2-0 day. We were on the Bears +7. Wish I played them on the money line. And we had A.J. Brown over in yards. How about the Bears, right? Proved they are for real. They got that big win, and you could say big back-to-back good wins, right? Steelers and now the Eagles, but Eagles on the road. Even though Eagles have been struggling, their offense have been struggling, but still good, right? Great win for Chicago. Love to see how they perform this week against the Packers, which we will talk about shortly. Survivor update. Give you guys a Survivor update. Splash Sports Survivor, still alive in that one. Moving on to week 14. Anytime you can get past Thanksgiving in Survivor, you had a very good, successful Survivor. Now, I'm not going to say successful because you don't win anything if you just get to week 14, but you're doing well. You're on the verge, right? There's only about 250 entries left in this contest. I think it was out of 4,000. So doing very well. We had the Chargers last week. They rolled against the Raiders. So let's see. Got another game pending. I think I can make it all the way to the end here unless I get a bad upset. I'll give you guys my play this weekend. It's going to be Tampa Bay over the Saints in Tampa. Should win. Should win. I'll be surprised if they don't. I'm excited to watch. I'll be watching that game, unlike most people. Probably won't turn into that game, or at least have it on one of my screens out of multiple setups. Power rankings. Power rankings, guys. New team at the top. The Patriots. Well deserved, especially since the Rams lost, right? You had to move down the Rams. Even though it's a one, I think it's just like a one-off. If you look at the stats and the yards, Rams should have won that game. Just a tough luck loss there. But Patriots deserve it. They continue. I know they just beat the Giants, whatever, but they blew them out. And they've also had some nice wins under the belt over the Bucks and Bills. So yeah, they have an easier strength of schedule. It's something I do factor into the power rankings. That's why I didn't have the Bears in the top 10 last week, guys. But they proved they can beat a team like the Eagles. If you prove that you can hang around against the Packers, you'll stay in the top 10 even if you don't win, to be honest. Rams a little surprised they lost to Carolina, but Carolina shows they can beat some good teams. They've beat Dallas, they've beat Green Bay, and now the Rams. Carolina could win that division, guys. Very interesting to watch that division. Bears and 49ers make their first appearance. 49ers were in the top in the power rankings before, but Bears make their first appearance. Eagles drop. Texans make their first appearance since week 1. Guys, 4 straight wins. Big wins, too, over the Colts. Right? They got a big win on the road against the Colts. That's a good win. I think they beat the Jags recently as well, too. So Texans deserve to get that number 10. Best defense in the league, in my opinion. Jags just missed out on the power rankings this week. Obviously, who would have thought this, guys? Right? Going into week 14, the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Lions weren't in the top 10. Chiefs maybe, but still, I knew Chiefs were going to take a step back, but not this much. Right? And the Ravens and the Lions, I had them top 5 team. I think most people did. If you're looking at the beginning of the season, preseason, logically, you would have the Ravens and Detroit Lions in the top 5. Right? Injuries caused that, and just overall not good play. Right? It's not just injuries. On the Ravens side, it was injuries early, but they got a lot of guys back now, and they're still not looking great. So it's definitely a concern on both sides. But yeah, crazy. Crazy, right? What would be scary for some teams, Lions get in, Ravens get into the playoffs. I expect both to get into the playoffs. You don't want to be playing these two teams. What if they catch fire? They start playing good football at the end of the season, which is when you want to start playing good football. This might not be as bad as you think. You just got to hope you get into the playoffs. But if you're playing average or not great in the middle of the season, you pour it on towards the end, which we're kind of at that now at the end of the season, might be a good thing for some teams, right? You don't want to peak too early, as they say. So that'll be interesting to see. Let's get into these games, guys. Let's get into these breakdowns, starting with Steelers at Ravens. Ravens minus 5.5, total 43. You could say a little high, that spread, that 5.5, the way the Ravens are playing. But guys, Steelers just not playing great either, right? This is one of the biggest rivalries in NFL. It probably used to be a little bigger. But this game's huge right now, guys. Winner moves on top of I think they're just tied right now. I think Baltimore may be ahead on some sort of points or whatnot. But winner is on the top of the AFC North. And I do believe probably will win the division. These guys do play again in Pittsburgh, so keep that in mind. Very important game here. Both 6-6. Now, I could say the Steelers would be 6-6. I predicted Steelers to be 500. Which they probably will, to be honest. Ravens, no. You just couldn't predict them to be struggling this much at the beginning of the year. Impossible. If you said you did, you're lying to yourself, guys. Let's be honest. Steelers D kind of struggled all year. We've seen a couple flashes at times, but that rush D looked concerning last week. Hopefully Moncton's watching that and just let Henry and Mitchell loose because Cook gashed them for over 100 yards. Total, they had over 200 yards between the running back room, including Josh Allen, last week, and that's what won them the game. So hopefully Moncton's watching this because prove it you can stop the run. Prove it. Right? And overall, total in yards allowed 28th in the NFL. So even against the pass, they haven't been good. The defense has not been good. They just released Darius Slay, a veteran corner, has been working out there. They brought in Adam Thielen on offense, 35-year-old Adam Thielen. I don't think he's going to do much. could make a couple catches down the stretch here. But, the question is Aaron Rodgers. How healthy is he? He hasn't looked great. One of the worst QBR ratings for starting QBs in the NFL. Hasn't looked great, and I called it, right? I expected him not to be good. For the Steelers, not enough weapons. He's older. He doesn't move well. The O-line's not good enough. I kind of called this at the beginning of the season, guys, and it's playing out how I expected. Warren, probably a little better year than I expected. He's been able to run the ball fairly well. He's going to have to run the ball for them now to get a chance to win this game. Ravens D getting better over the weeks. Last week's tough to call how good they were because the turnovers, right? You're giving them good positions in the field. 5 turnovers. You got to put the defense on the field continuously. They were on the field a little too much. Tough to kind of say, because Bengals scored like 35 or high 20s, whatever it was. So, it doesn't look good on paper, but if you look at the game, tough spot for the Ravens last week. The big question is Lamar Jackson. Let's be honest. He's not playing up to par, guys. Not able to run the ball like he used to. He's injured. I'll tell you that much. Not injured enough not to play because it's his leg injury, right? Ankle, toe, blah, 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 etc. But you can tell. His accuracy's not there. Maybe he's planting foot or it hurts when he plants or whatnot. He's not scrambling as much. There is an issue with the O-line. The O-line has struggled. And it's not like one or two guys. Surprisingly, everyone on the O-line's like having a down year. It's crazy. I haven't seen it. Last year, they had a great O-line, top 5 O-line in the NFL. They didn't really lose anybody. They also swing guy in McCary, but somehow they've struggled this much. Very surprising, guys, to be honest. I did not expect this. And Todd Monken just not making the right calls, in my opinion. Not running the ball enough in certain situations. Just not having good game plans, in my opinion, going into the games. Head-to-head, Ravens won the last 2 games. Steelers are 7-3, though, in the last 10. Future more recent meetings or something I more look at, to be honest. I expect the Ravens to run the ball a ton here. They have to go off what they saw against the Bills last week. Bills are running the same type of play, too. And it just kept working. Even TJ Watson, I don't know what the hell was going on. They kept running the same play. That's never happened to me before. So run the ball, get the ball, get the game going from running the ball, and then maybe open up Lamar for some passing attacks with Flowers, etc. No comment really here on the total, but I do like the Ravens to win the game. If you ask me, gun to my head, I had to play the spread. I actually would take the Steelers plus the points. Not going to play it, but 5.5, 6 points is a lot. It's a lot. Especially the way the Ravens have been playing. But I expect the Ravens to win, avoid back-to-back AFC North losses at home. That's a good situational handicap there on the Ravens. So they may make my, money line or teaser play this week as a parlay, money line parlay. Sometimes I do money line parlays, 2-team, right? Teaser, 2 or 3 teams as well. I expect a good game from Lamar Jackson here. Not a terrible one. I expect it to be a little better in Steelers week. Even though he has struggled at times against the Steelers, I'm feeling a pretty good game from him this week, so let's see how that plays out. Bears at Packers. Packers minus 6.5, total 44.5. Huge game here as well in a division for first place. Same type of situation. This one tells me a little more, though, right? Are the Bears for real, for real? I gave them the crown to saying they are for real, but beating the Packers the way the Packers are playing now on the road, winning back-to-back tough road games, right? Tough to play in Philadelphia. Tough to play in Green Bay. If Bears can at least hang around, like, 3-point type of game, or even win this game, I'll be very impressed with them. Now, I do think Packers win this game. Packers are going to be the play. 6.5. Again, I got to take the Bears plus the points. Only way I could look if I had to play the spread here, right? Packers playing good football, guys. Won 3 in a row. Big win over the Lions on Thanksgiving. Starting to see good signs from Jordan Love. Playing well. Good QBR rating, guys. Their defense playing much better as well. Bears won 5 straight. 2 good wins in there, like I mentioned at the top of the podcast. Eagles and Steelers. Steelers on the road, right? I believe it was on the road. Hats off to Caleb Williams. much improved from last year where a lot of people had concerns. He's looking like he should be a long-term starter in this league and be a top QB possibly in the league. Not saying right now his QBR rating not the best, but his run games really help him out. Second in total yards rushed at 153 a game. Without that run game, guys, I don't know really how it would look, but that run game, very, very appealing to watch with Swift and the other guy. I'm forgetting his name right now, but something with an M. Sorry, guys, for forgetting his name, but he's having a good year. Packers, though, top 10 against the rush. So good battle there. Let's see how the rush, their rush D holds up against the second overall total rushing yard team in the Bears. Tall task, though, guys. More of a situational handicap. Philadelphia to Green Bay, back-to-back road games. If they go in and beat the Packers now, I get it. The morale's high in Chicago. Ben Johnson doing a great job. He has that team doing well. If you guys watch the locker room where Ben Johnson took his shirt off and stuff, crazy. But the morale's high, and that's what you need, right? Get morale that high, you can beat anybody. I believe they could win this game. Green Bay, the Chicago Bears could win this game. I'd be a little surprised, like I mentioned, but I do believe they hang around at least. So the plus 6.5 would be something I would look at here. Total, I think, is kind of it's a little low. I've seen both teams able to score, and Bears, we've seen them struggle at times, allowing a lot of points. So the way Jordan Love is playing right now, for 44.5, I believe it gets over there. Now, check weather, right? I'm doing this on Wednesday. So check the weather, guys. I don't know how that's going to play out, especially in Green Bay. You may have to adjust due to wind, possibly snow, rain, etc. But as of right now, I take the over 44.5 on that spread. Jordan Love, just to go back to what I was saying earlier, 72.9 QBR rating. That's top 3 in the NFL, guys. So QB advantage here, defense advantage at home. Only way I can look is Green Bay to win the game. I expect the Bears to hang around due to the way they are playing. You could get maybe by a half, get it to plus 7, you get a push. That 6.5 could be tricky. Maybe Packers win late by a touchdown. That's something worth mentioning here. Monday nighter, Eagles minus 2.5 at Chargers, LA Chargers. Total 40.5. Tough game here to handicap, guys. Interesting one as well, right? What Eagles team will show up and what Chargers team will show up? Both these teams are very tough to handicap. I have them on my Excel spreadsheet as teams to kind of avoid from betting in the market at times due to their unpredictability. Like the Eagles, you just don't know what team's going to show up, but what offense is going to show up from week to week. Right? Just 2 games ago, the Chargers lost 35-6 to the Jags. Who would have predicted that? Right? Eagles have lost back-to-back games. Eagles have really struggled to put up points, right, on consistent basis. So you just don't know what offense is going to show up, right? 3 of their last 4 games, guys, listen to this, 15 points, 16 points, 10 points, right? If they do that against the Chargers, they lose this game. Barkley's having a down year, running the ball 16th in rushing yards at 740. Last year is first. And then huge difference from last year, right? The average is a little more surprising, 3.7 per carry. That's very low outside of the top 100 guys. Now, some guys obviously have less carries, but still, 3.7 per carry is bad for a starting running back. Hurts QBR isn't great either. 54.7 on the year. That's 19th in the NFL. Caleb Williams is better than him. Daniel Jones, Jackson Dart, just to name a few. Right? So, Chargers, Herbert been better. He's been better, not that much better, right? 60 QBR rating. Big parts the O-line. When you lose your top 2 O-line guys, you're going to struggle. And that's what's happening here. They lost Hampton, too. That's a big loss. He might be back for this game. Look out for that. That would give them a big boost. But that Vidal guy or whatnot, he's been running pretty well. So, hats off to him. They found someone to back him up. Chargers are right there as well with Denver to win this division. I don't think the Chiefs could win it anymore. It's a battle between the Chargers and Denver. Important game here for the Chargers and both teams, right? Dallas is trying to catch the Eagles. So that will be interesting to see how that goes. It's the hardest game to predict of the week, to be honest. I'm going to lean the Eagles, guys, just to avoid 3 straight losses. That's a situational handicap when a really good team, at least on paper, even though they're not playing their best, I'm leaning that way, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers win this game either, right? They'll probably be one of my more favorite underdogs to win this week because you can get them around plus 125. I think there's some value there on the Chargers just due to the way the Eagles are playing. But yeah, a game I'll be staying away from on the books. Should be a pretty good game, though. Could be low scoring. That's why you've seen that 40.5 because you just don't know what offense is going to come out. But yeah, I don't have the balls enough to play under 40.5 with these two offenses that can go off at any game. Teaser options this week, guys. Thanksgiving dinner didn't come through. 3 upsets, just hard to predict. Cleveland at home, plus 3.5 against the lonely Titans. Give me that due to that defense, not due to the offense. I think they can run the ball well on the Titans as well. And then the Bucks, -2 at home versus the Saints. Bucks are my survivor play this week. They're getting a lot healthier. Fade the rookie QB on the road, and Bucks to bounce back after getting a win last week. Underdogs, I mentioned it, guys. Chargers, that would be, there's two I like here, Chargers and Jags. Jags at home versus the Colts, even though I do think it's a somewhat a good spot for Colts to bounce back. I think Jags been playing some good football. I think they're alive to win. And then Chargers at home as well. Don't really like anything else, but those are my 2 more of a lean this week in the underdog market. That will do it, guys. That will do it. Look out for the UFC pod out tomorrow. Last pay-per-view ever. So that'll be fun to break down and watch. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Enjoy this card.